The purpose of this video is to give you some basic guidelines to help you analyze different financial choices when purchasing an automobile. Here I have a basic worksheet that I've set up to allow you to look at different options. And what we're trying to get to at the end of the day is what is the average cost per year for the different options. So let's just say in the first example here that we're looking at a used vehicle. And let's say you can go to CarMax or somewhere and buy a used vehicle for $10,000. What the worksheet allows you to do is make some decisions and of course assumptions. In this case, you're assuming you'll buy that vehicle and you'll have it for 8 years. And you can then take other information that you have, which is what's the MPG on the vehicle, how many miles are you going to drive per month, and then you can figure out what it'll be per year. Repairs and maintenance costs, you can get some general guidelines on what it would cost to repair and or do regular maintenance, such as oil changes on an annual basis. Get insurance estimates through your insurance carrier, and also any other costs that you might have, such as vehicle registration fees per year, or depending on the state you live in, you might have property taxes or other things that you can add in the other category. So in this example here, you're paying for a used vehicle. You're going to pay $10,000 up front, and you're going to have these costs on an annual basis, and your assumption again is you're going to have it for 8 years. Obviously you can adjust your assumption depending on how many years you think you're going to have the vehicle for. Of course, this is just an assumption, but you need that in order to compare different options when looking at vehicle costs. So in this particular example, your average cost is $3,825 per year for the vehicle. And over an 8-year period, it's going to cost you $30,600. Now, of course, these costs are not linear. Maybe the insurance is, obviously, you're paying a flat amount per year. Those may vary over the years, and of course, you always want to get quotes and make sure you're getting the best value possible. But repairs and maintenance are going to vary, and you're going to have some years where you're going to have low repair costs, and other years you're going to have high costs. So here we're assuming, based on some information we were able to get, based on the make and model of the vehicle and the age and the amount of miles it has, that it's going to cost us about $500 per year. And of course, to budget our finances, if it didn't cost us $500, we're going to put $500 away so we have that money in a future year when we may have a $1,500 repair or something like that. Okay, so that's option one. Say option two would be, okay, you're just trying to decide what to buy. In this case, you looked at a used vehicle, and now you're going to say, okay, what if I buy a new vehicle? And let's say, even though on today's standards it's hard to buy a $30,000 vehicle, let's just say you get a reasonably priced new vehicle without a lot of bells and whistles on it for $30,000. And you're planning to drive that vehicle for 10 years. So essentially you're going to drive it into the ground. And again, you're going to make assumptions for gas, repairs and maintenance, and so on for the other things. And of course, you can get more detailed with it if you want. Typically, obviously, the curve for some of these costs are not going to be linear. Your repairs and maintenance costs might be lower in the first, 3 or 4 years, and then they'll start increasing as the vehicle gets older. So you can get some of that information if you go out on the websites, and you can look up your vehicle and get some estimates for that. But again, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is make an assumption. We're going to say a 10-year life, drop in the numbers we have, and once we do the calculations, it's saying it's going to be $5,575 per year. That's the average cost over the 10 years. So obviously you can tell, compare the used vehicle to the new vehicle, that again, keeping it simple, the average cost is less for the used vehicle than the new vehicle. And if you're driving a car, you know that it's going to cost you something per year. Even if you don't have a car payment, like in this case, we're assuming that you're paying up front. For a lot of people, you're not doing that. You're getting a car loan, so you can definitely, based on, say, it's a 5-year loan, you can plug in amounts here for each of the 5 years based on what the loan payments are. And of course, if you're borrowing $30,000, you're going to be paying more than that because there's going to be interest on top of it, possibly some other fees. So, instead of $30,000 here, you would drop in, what your annual payments are going to be. Let's say it's a 5-year loan or something like that. And it'll work just fine as well. It'll do the math, and you can get an average here. And of course, if you borrow the $30,000, it's going to be a higher cost per year than the $5,575. And finally, let's say another option might be, let's say you're thinking about leasing a vehicle. So on a lease vehicle, let's say, again, these are just plain numbers, but let's say it's a 4-year lease. So you're going to be paying, in this case, we're saying $300 a year. $300 a month for 12 months, so $3,600 a year. And so you're the total payments you're going to make are $14,400. Then you're going to have gas, repairs, and maintenance, which again, these things could vary depending on what the lease contract says, and you got to be real careful, especially if there's a penalty clause in there. If you go over a certain number of miles per year, you can end up paying a lot more than what you expected. And of course, insurance and any other costs such as registration fees. And when we do the math there, we're getting a number of $5,975 per year. So again, the purpose of this is to give you a basic way that you can use, and you can obviously take and make a basic worksheet like this in Excel, compare the costs of different choices that you're looking at so you can get a handle on what is it really going to cost you per year. Again, you're going to estimate it, but in this example, you can say, if I wanted to spend the least amount possible, it would be buying this used vehicle and driving it for 8 years. And of course, you can play around with how many years you think you're going to have it and things of that nature, but this helps you make that decision. Now, we didn't get more detailed with the time value of money and present valuing and things like that. You definitely can do that, but again, we're trying to keep this simple. And comparing these options, you can see that the leased vehicle is the most expensive. Of course, you're driving a newer car all the time, but again, your annual costs are higher. And of course, your goal, if you're trying to balance your finances out, you want to drive for the least cost. In this case, it would be this used vehicle. So I hope this was helpful to you. Good luck.